seeing me as one facet.
You made the point in that program that the problem with fame is you can't get rid of it. You can't give it away.
No, you can't switch it off.
You can't switch it off.
That's the problem.
Why would you want to?
Because at the beginning it's terrific.
Yes.
You know, at the beginning you get recognized, you feel wonderful. Your little ego swells up and you feel all warm and happy. And then it goes on.
That's what happens when your little ego swells up. We're back in New Zealand now.
Yeah, once you're 24. Passing over it. And then you kind of begin to get used to it. And then there's a certain point when you begin to find that the negative, I mean, you know, it's not nice to wake up in the morning and have your secretary call you, be careful, the paparazzi sitting in the car outside with long lenses, you know? It's not nice. It really isn't nice at all. And people often think, oh, you could shrug that off. But I promise you, I don't know anyone who can. It's an uncomfortable feeling. And it also means that you get stared at a lot. And after time, the good side of that begins to fade away. And it just becomes something that interferes with, this is going to sound pompous, but interferes with living a sort of authentic life. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Because to some extent, we're always putting on some kind of face. I mean, you and I are more relaxed in front of camera right now, but we're always projecting some kind of face when we're in public. And that face can become kind of permanent, as I think it sometimes becomes with politicians, and to the point where you don't really believe there's anything much left behind the face.
Yes.
And I think it's terribly, terribly important. I mean, if I go out and do a publicity tour, I genuinely feel after 4 weeks that I'm a bit more fake than I usually am, because I'm kind of projecting an image and selling something and trying to manipulate the conversation in a positive direction. So what about the bit behind you that's more authentic? Well, if you don't get away and get rid of the public face and go back into the authentic bit now and again, I think you can lose it.
Yes.
I think public figures do.
And it leads, of course, to this exploitation, doesn't it, too? It's something you define in that program as being celebrity pond life. I mean, the entire notion now of celebrity is quite extraordinary, isn't it? I mean,
well, you don't have to do anything.
No.
I mean, one of the things we say in that program is that somebody who was famous in let's say, 1850 was the Duke of Wellington, because he'd actually commanded the armies for a bit, or Florence Nightingale. I mean, those are the people who were famous, or Brunel had built a few bridges. But now, if you play third lead in a sitcom, you're famous. You know what I mean? And the trouble is, people, I think we do look for guidance from heroes. And the trouble now is that the heroes don't know anything. Now, if you could have sat down with the Duke of Wellington, you could have learned something really quite interesting from that guy, or Florence Nightingale. But you sit down with an actor from a sitcom, what do you expect to learn? And yet, because people are staring at them, we think that they have to know something that we don't know. And it isn't true.
now, when you look back on that journey you made, and are you going to grow old disgracefully?
Yes. Arsfair and I decided when we get to 85, it's to hell with it. It's going to be drugs, orgies, you know, a lot of cream.
Yeah.
I mean, just...
Yeah. Perhaps you might go to New Zealand again.
And celebrate.
The station hotel.
The station,
I'm going to go there, make a pilgrimage. It was here, and he was 24. But, and finally, what of the future? What are you looking at? What's the next step? Are we going to make more movies? Or, I mean...
No, I love doing movies when they're short and sweet. I mean, because you work 14-hour days now, and that's a grind. You do 3 weeks of that, and they want you to do a close-up at 8 o'clock. You're not doing work that you're very proud of, I find. But I'm just kind of always been curious about my best quality. I've always been curious about why we're here, and I actually think there may be some something, you know, some reason we're here, and that's what really interests me now. So I'm just going to hang around and probably become very disillusioned. But then I have a little ranch with 50 animals on it: horses, birds, chinchillas, rats, alpacas, goats. And that's a pretty nice place to spend my time.
And they don't know you as Basil Fawlty, do they?
No, no. Although I'll tell you something, you won't believe this. You really won't believe this. I have a Mexican working for me. I promised you. Manuel. It's true.
John Cleese, thank you very much indeed. John Cleese.
It's fun, isn't it? I never told anyone about Manuel.
Thank you.
I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. When I was introduced to him and I liked him and I said, what's your name?
Oh, dear. My thanks to John Cleese. On next week's show, my guests are Hollywood superstar Kevin Costner and two men renowned for their ability to make us laugh, Lee Evans and Martin Clunes, plus music from the splendid Texas. That's next week. Join us then. Until then, from all of us here, a very good night. Good night.
We're off to the Big Brother house next here on BBC One, all in the name of comic relief.
Do you find you're endlessly fascinated by this thing on the front of your head?
Human beings are the only animal apart from chimpanzees that can recognize their own reflections.
How much does this mug tell you about its owner?
John Cleese discovers the many secrets of the human face, Wednesday at 9:10 on BBC One.